grew up in a Christian household with two loving Christian parents. I grew up in a good church, and I had a loving Christian family around me, a Christian church family. Was saved in an early age. Once I got a little older, I started battling depression and eating disorders, and I think that was what just really started to catapult me. I was living a really rough life for a couple of years, and I didn't like it, and I certainly didn't want to live my life like that. I got to a point where I was just done with it. I was sick of it, and that was about the time that we met. We fell pretty hard, pretty fast for each other. It was not long before I was pregnant.
I grew up in a Roman Catholic family. That was a big part of our lives. We attended church every Sunday. We were involved in the things that that our local church put on. As I grew up, I kind of did my own thing, but I knew that God was real. I prayed when I thought of it. And fast forward to college life, my first experience not living with my parents, and I started making less good decisions, and just kind of lived a lifestyle that was very apart from God. Got a job, and that's where I met Kristi, and we were kind of in a similar lost place in our lives. I was bartending and serving tables and singing in a cover band, and we kind of became really good friends, and eventually that turned into dating, and as she said, we fell for each other quickly, and didn't start making necessarily great decisions right away. So we ended up with a little boy, and some big life decisions ahead of us that we had to start figuring out together.
When we found out that we were expecting, I was a bit terrified. I was also ready for a change. So in that way, it was welcome. It was a nice excuse for me to not live the life that I was living. I felt very convicted the entire time that I was not in a good situation, and it was not where I needed to be, and God just kept telling me that I needed to move out, and I knew I had to, but it was scary to make that step. I was going to baptism at Devil's Lake with my parents, and on our way out there, I finally got the nerve to break up with Matt over the phone.
We had that phone conversation, and as she was going out to the lake, and I put down the phone and I hit my knees. That was the moment where I surrendered everything to God, and I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't figure this out. I thought that, we were just treading through some, murky waters, but we'd come out just fine on our own, and that was the point when I realized that wasn't going to happen. There was no way that I could make this happen, and sitting in that basement apartment that I had gotten for myself, on my knees in the side of my bed, I received Jesus that night. I could immediately feel that my whole life was different. I didn't know how that worked yet, but I knew that things were going to change, and it wasn't me just trying to navigate my way through whatever it was that she wanted me to do, that I was changed on the inside. We met up that night, and I told her that I had received Jesus. Naturally, she was hesitant, probably thinking that I came up with this as a ploy to win her back. But I was prepared for that, oddly enough. I didn't know that I was until I could see the look of disbelief in her face, and I said, I know you're not going to believe me, so I'm going to prove it to you. Within a week, I think you started really realizing that I wasn't just putting up a facade to win you over, but I was immediately just on fire. I wanted to talk about Christ with everybody. I wanted to learn as much as I could learn. I wanted to get involved as much as I could get involved. And ultimately, that led us back together quite quickly. And in retrospect, knowing that God gave her the command to break up with me, even though it made no sense, her faithfulness to do that within moments saved me. And I can't really put into words how important that is in my life. Now here we sit 7 or 8 years later, and I don't recognize the person that I was before that day. We sit here now, we've got 4 boys, so we have a loud, crazy household that I wouldn't trade for the world. We have the responsibility now of leading up or training up 4 leaders of 4 households, which is a big, scary undertaking that I would hate to be doing by myself. But fortunately, I have my lovely wife and ultimately God leading the way. So since we got married, now life has been perfect and we've had nothing bad to deal with, right?
I would not say that at all.
No.
No, it has been a roller coaster, I would say. We've had 3 surprise pregnancies, and we've had joblessness and all sorts of things. And there have been times where we just have been so unsure of what's next. And we have no idea what God's plan is for us. And He keeps shutting all these doors and waiting. And it seems like at the last second, He's like, okay, here you go.
And it ends up better than we could have ever imagined.
And I don't think it's ever been what we were looking for, but it has been so much more and so much better than what we could have imagined if we were to plan things out.
I think one of the biggest testimonies to both the power and the grace of God in our lives is that He's never stopped changing us. He's never stopped pulling us through whatever hard times might be coming our way. He's never stopped pulling us closer together as a couple. Mm-hmm. And He just continues to be faithful to make us better people, to improve our marriage, to improve our relationships with our kids. And it's a fun ride, and I can't wait to see what He has for us next.